Welcome back to my igloo. I have the Circle K coffee, a little bit of chocolate in it this time. You know, looking at different videos around the internet right now, seeing this whole time of loneliness, the crisis of loneliness that the West is in, and then making a video about it and saying that it's people around the world right now are feeling lonely. It's not just America. It's not just the West. It makes me reflect on kind of my own journey, you know. And for those of you who don't know, I recently got married, and I have my first son on the way, and I'm not a young guy, you know. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm going to be an old dad, but it really makes me think of like the past 39 years, right? Why did I wait so long? Why do people kind of wait so long to take the next step these days? And not just in relationships, but just kind of everything in life right now, whether it's the job you want, it's a trip you want to take, you know, asking this girl out, asking for a promotion, you know, looking for a new job, anything. We all look at matters with a kind of trepidation and fear. I feel like there's no reason for us to really be afraid of people saying no to us, because, I mean, what's the consequence of a simple no? But I think that now, in this time, there's no margin for error in life. I mean, even if it's just perceived, there's no room for forgiveness, right? If somebody messes up, we hold it against them forever. You know, the internet is forever. And I think that's kind of leaked into our own psyche. I think that we believe that if we err, if we make a mistake, that that's something that we're going to carry with us forever. But this isn't the case. Life is supposed to be about making mistakes. Life is supposed to be about making errors, learning from your mistakes. Because it takes experience, it takes falling down and getting up to actually gain what we call wisdom. You can read about things, you can see them in movies, you can talk about them, you can discuss them, you can read about it on Reddit. But the fact is, if you don't live through things, you don't actually gain wisdom. Learned experience has to be experienced. And for me, on my part, I've never had a problem being alone. I've been alone most of my life, you know, and I didn't have parents around as much as I think most people did. And it really kind of changed the way that I look at the world. And I really think that it kind of molded me to kind of exist in a more independent state. I'm not saying that I never had girlfriends, I never hooked up, I never had friends. That's not the case. I've had a lot of that my entire life. But it hasn't really felt necessary. I've always been okay being alone. I never felt lonely. I think, or when I did start to feel lonely, I think I was older. When I started seeing my friends have families, you know, when I started seeing my friends' kids go to school and realize that, you know, there's a big part of my life, the big part of the biological journey of humanity that, you know, I was missing out on. I think over the past couple of years, I made a concerted effort to try to find a partner, someone to settle down with, someone to have a family with. And, you know, and I took that leap, and here we are. You know, I found someone to settle down with, to have a kid with. We're doing that. I think at some point you have to push through the trepidation of what if someone says no and just act. You know, at some point I think you just have to look at it as a case of survival. Because if you don't get these things, and I know it's not for everybody, but I think that if you think not having a family is the best thing, if you think that you're going to be a bad parent, a bad husband, a bad wife, I think that you need to give yourself a little bit of credit. And I think you need to realize that you may not know what you're doing, and you may have a fear of failure, but, you know, hundreds, thousands of generations before you, you know, that pushed you to this point had that same fear and didn't have the same luxuries that we have. As expensive as the world may be today, we live in a time of grandeur. You know, the chances of you starving, of you freezing to death in the West, in the world in general, is very low. And so the only things we have to really stop us are kind of social based or psychological barriers that kind of we've put up around us to isolate ourselves off from others and from the possibility of people saying no. And that's at the same time while we say no to everybody else. We say no to everything in life. We're afraid of people saying no to us, but how often do you say no, you know, to possibility? How often do you say no to potential? I'm not saying that you should say yes to everything. I'm just saying that people need to take chances more. I started taking a lot more chances a couple of years ago, and it changed my life. It changed it for the best, absolutely. I'm so thankful to be in the place that I am now. I'm so happy that I wake up and I'm next to someone who loves me. I'm so thankful that in just a few months, I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to have someone to carry on the bloodline, right? Carry on the name. Someone that I can teach things to. Somebody I can watch Star Wars with, read Lord of the Rings books with. You know, get that childhood nerd stuff back in my life to be acceptable. You know, all the travel, all the experience, even before this, you know, all the dating, you know, all the adventures that I've gone on, it takes a leap of faith. And I don't know why all of a sudden it became easy for me, or maybe just easier. But I will say that living for yourself holds you back. Living for yourself makes you question yourself. When you have to live for other people, when you have to provide for other people, when you have people counting on you, expecting you to come through, it's easy to say yes. It's easy to do what you have to do. It's easy to bet to be a better you and to succeed. Absolutely. Because at that point you realize I have to be my best self. I have to live up to whatever potential God has given me. There's no room for error. If I mess up, if there's an obstacle, I have to break through that obstacle because I have to make sure that they're okay. I have to make sure that they're taken care of. And that may sound scary and it may sound like a lot of responsibility, you know, if you don't have that. But at the same time, you know, this is what we're built for. I can only speak for men. I can't speak for women. This is what we're built for. It feels natural. It feels natural to try to provide and care for a family. It feels natural to build something that's not for you. And I find it a real shame that so many people are choosing to just either play video games or lock themselves in their rooms, their houses all day, and just deny themselves the simple pleasure of having a family. And if you're saying, well, you know, dating in America is terrible, and this is true, dating in America is terrible. That's why it's one of the biggest reasons I left. You know, call me a passport bro all you want. I found a good woman from a good family. I love and respect her. She loves and respects me. And we're on this ride together. And that's what it's about. You're on this ride together with somebody, and that makes things so much easier. You're always going to have someone who supports you, even if you're fighting. In the end, you're on the same team. In the end, it's you two against the world. So don't get so held up by the fact that people might say no, or that you might have to deal with a little bit of embarrassment or anxiety or shame. Push through it. You know, it's not just about bettering yourself. It's not just about having a six-pack and getting laid and making a ton of money. In the end, none of that matters. The only thing that matters in the end is what you've built and what you've done for other people. That's what legacy is. Legacy isn't views on YouTube. Legacy isn't likes on Instagram. Legacy is having people there in your final moments. Legacy is being able to teach all those things that you think you know better, you know, to the next generation so they can succeed. A legacy is beyond you. And you'll never have that if you just say no to yourself. You'll never have that if you don't allow yourself to get out there and take that next step. So quiet that self-censorship, you know, shut down that self-hatred and just believe in yourself, right? At one point in your life, you were strong and you knew it and you felt like you can do anything. Remember who that person is. I think sometimes everybody has to just go in the bathroom, look in the mirror and be like, hey, remember who the you are. This is something I have to do. I think this is something we have to do as a society. We need to look in the mirror and remember who the fuck we were. Because it seems today that we've lost all sense of ourselves. So take risk and look forward with hope, because you may feel lonely now. And this may be a lonely time in the world, but it won't last, and you do have control. You know, you can get happiness. You can have legacy. You can have a future. And it can be as simple as waking up and seeing somebody smile next to you, somebody who genuinely cares about you. I think in some ways, you'll never find anything more rewarding than that. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope everyone has a great day.